than in the color.
Okay.
I mean, it does, but it'll get darker because it's recognizing all these colors. So then I put I'll lay down my Sorrel paper first.
Let me ask a question before we get off topic.
Okay.
Do you change the contrast before you do the line thing?
On some I do, and some I don't. It depends on how it'll look, because some pictures do have like no contrast, or
Yeah.
it's too flat.
Yeah.
And I'll go in there, and I'll do the contrast, or the lines, you know, because like if you do it this, and you can monitor the line size, you can make the lines real thick or make the lines real thin. I'll see what works with it.
Yeah,
You know? So it depends on what your photograph is. Like if I do like the pictures of a person, I don't need that much because you know, the human figure, you know that, right?
Yeah.
But on the animals, you know, you need to see a lot more because a lot of them will disappear into the background and stuff.
Yeah, and they have markings.
Yes, exactly. And like you were talking about, oh no, I'm sorry, I think it was Christina, she mentioned one time that you do want to put like on animals their flaws, you know, their matted hair, their, you know, their little flaws, and it gives them character, in other words. So what I do is like, I'll do my Sorrel paper first. I don't like to tape them, I tape them separately. So I'll tape this first, cut it, tape it to this, only the top edges here. I'll like put my tape here, lap it over, that's my Sorrel paper. Then I'll come back, put what I'm gonna transfer up. Again, I'll use different tape, like only one or something, and then that way every time I'm drawing or transferring it over, I'll flip the paper over and I can see what I've missed, what I need, and I just do the top, so that way I keep going and doing this and seeing what needs to be done or left in or left out.
Is there a reason why you tape the Sorrel?
Because it has a tendency to move, like it'll, that way, if I have it taped and flat, that way when I go like this and then I come back, I know that if I smooth it out again to redraw, it'll fit perfectly, you know, without moving. I've done it where I only tape this part and not the Sorrel, and before you know it, it's like it moved, it's shifted.
Yeah.
And it left me a little bit of streaks on there.
Okay.
And you know how I don't know if you work with the Sorrel, but the Sorrel sometimes, like, you can erase it. I do use an eraser, and what I use to erase the Sorrel line has to be my abrasive eraser. And I'm sure you've seen it, but this is abrasive. So it takes off the lines pretty well, but if you do too much, it leaves the white line. I mean, it goes into the clay. And then you're like, oh my gosh, you don't want that on there. So I've learned to, like scratching, to do real lightly on it now.
Have you tried, I don't want to step on your toes.
No.
When I use the white Sorrel, I draw my lines, I make little keys with my scratching tool, then I get a wet paper towel or a wet rag, and I go like this, and the lines are gone.
Oh, okay.
And it has done nothing whatsoever to the board.
Okay.
So there's no damage, no erasing, no nothing. Just a swipe with, and it's gone.
I need to try that.
It's
Yeah. And sometimes I'm afraid, like, if I put too much moisture, does it dampen it?
Yeah, we'll let it dry for a few minutes.
Yeah, but it doesn't make it soggy or anything.
No. It's just damp, not
Just
wet,
damp.
but just barely damp, and wipe it off, it comes right off.
I need to try that.
I also take the Sorrel before I put it on there, and I take a paper towel and I wipe most of the stuff off, because
yeah,
I think
it
they
gets
put
flaky.
way too much on there,
Yeah.
you know, and I wipe it off, then I put it on there. And that keeps it from leaving this powdery mess all over.
Right, it does. Sometimes it does leave a little powdery excess.
Yeah, but I love that Sorrel.
You can reuse it multiple times. It's not like you have to use it when you don't have to
Well,
throw
the
it
thing
away.
is, what happens when you use it, the same sheet again, whatever line you went on there, that's it. It won't have enough. So you'll see, like,
So you will have a lighter line, right?
You'll have a
No.
lighter, no, I use a small piece, like if I'm gonna do a big board,
Yeah.
I'll tear off a little piece and I won't tape it, but I'll move it around the board as I need
Oh,
it. I'll
okay.
draw over here, and then I'll move it down, and I'll draw it here, and I use the same piece.
Yeah.
And I found no problem with it transferring, and that way I make it last forever.
used the white before, but I've used the graphite tinted one, and I've had problems with it drying out to where it doesn't leave the transfer. Have you ever had a problem with the white stuff?
What do you mean drying out?
Like,
Yeah.
the first time you use a sheet or whatever, it leaves a real nice graphite line. You let it sit for a month or whatever, you go to do another transfer, it's very, very faint, very difficult to see.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how else to say it other than drying out, but it's odd because they don't box it like in they don't box it in any sort of sealed thing.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it just being in the roll, but I still leave it in the roll, and I've had problems with the graphite. I bought 2 different boxes, and I've
Wow.
never been able to
Maybe
use them
put it in a
anymore.
Ziploc bag,
Your
refrigerator or
graphite
something?
is a different
I'm
thing
being
spread
serious.
on there.
I haven't tried
I
that,
don't see how
yeah.
that would dry out. This is a powder that's different from graphite.
Okay, yeah, I haven't used the white, so I don't
Yeah.
have any experience with it.
Yeah.
But I did use a different brand to transfer paper for a workshop recently, and I had 2 packs, and one of them, unopened, was much drier than the other. Some of the beginners had it very hard. They had to really press hard to get it to transfer. It was one of the hobbies. Maybe it was a little canal. Anyway, it was one of the Hobby Lobby packages I picked up.
Is there an expiration date on it?
No,
No,
I've had it sit there for, long periods of time.
It might
Now
be
what?
that Colorado really dry air too.
I don't know, but I know other people have reported problems with it as well. Or have you were saying you had problems?
Drier environment.
Now, on the big boards, I do, of course, have to use sheet and another sheet because it's not like big enough, but.
Can I ask an unrelated question?
Sure.
Which do you prefer, the smaller or the bigger boards?
I'm leaning towards, I'm not gonna go either or, it's medium size. I've been doing the 11 by 14s and I've done about 4 11 by 14s and the 16 by 20s. I find that that's gonna be something I can work with. I did the real big one, the 24 by 36, and that took me like forever. And then I've done, I started off with these little ones, when I first started. But then I got my ego stepped in and I said, oh, I want to show detail. I want to see, type of stuff, and that I went bigger. But then when I did the big board, I said, no, let me go smaller. So medium, 11 to 14, 16 by 20, I think that's just perfect. And because a lot of people, when they have wall space, they have a lot of wall space, but they don't want like over dominant wall to put big ones. Because I know like my 24 by 36, I put it over my fireplace, and that just like took up the whole thing. And I'm thinking, and people comment on it, but they won't say, oh, well, how much or anything like that, because I understand that it will dominate the wall. So, but I've learned that the 11 by 14 and the 16 by 20, I've sold some of those because they're just right, especially if you add on the frame, depending on the thickness of the frame, they like it. It's visually aesthetic for them,
I found galleries prefer very large, and when I show them my work, they'll go, is that as big as you do? And I'll go, yeah. And I said, I have some 18 by 24, and they'll go, and that's it? Yeah.
They might be the type of gallery that people in their mind say, I know where to get a big, a big thingy. When they're looking for one, they go straight over there.
I don't know how long ago you were getting that response, maybe recently, but I do know a lot of galleries are shifting with the economy as well because they want to make the sale and more people have $1,000 to spend than have $12,000 to spend. Like the gallery that I've been in for a few years said, oh, well, we're not moving a lot of your bigger pieces. Do you have anything small you want to bring in that would be in a lower price
very
range?
cool.
So that is kind of interesting that maybe the
Yeah.
galleries are shifting a little bit with the economy change as well.
Yeah. I have a feeling that some of the galleries I've been approaching are more into size than work.
See, they look at that first, and then they start looking at the work, and they'll go like, okay,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, the Scratchboard, it's hard to go that big. Be there forever.
And do you have any of your works here other than in the show or no?
Yes, I have one downstairs in the show. We have the student art show downstairs. I don't know if y'all want to go downstairs and take a walk later on, but I have one of my pieces down there. It's in
What's
the show.
down there?
The one that I made for Sandy, the 20-year-old dog.
Oh, yes.
It's beautiful.